At long last, it's game day. Utah football will be taking on Weber State here in just a few hours, and we have our first Utah pregame live here on KSL Sports Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. I'm Trevor Allen hosting this thing. Joining me is our KSL Sports Utah football analyst, former Utah quarterback Drew Lisk. Drew, it's finally game day. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready to watch, obviously, the Utes tonight. And then being a football fan, we got a full weekend slated up for us. So, yeah, ready to get after it and do some serious football watching.
So first off, we haven't talked since they announced the quarterback for Utah, Charlie Brewer. Thoughts on him? Obviously, Cam's a really good friend of yours. How did he take it? And just what are your expectations for Charlie going into the season?
Yeah, just to touch, I reached out to Cam. He's in good spirits, obviously. He's a competitor. He wanted to be the guy. But at the end of the day, Cam will be ready to go. He made that clear to me. I kind of told him, from experience, I was like, hey, you're going to get your shot. It's just a matter of when. And so he received that well. And like I said, he'll be ready to go. As far as Charlie, though, excited to watch him play. I know. He had a lot of success at Baylor. Sounds like he's, carrying that success over, relying on his experience a little bit from the past to be successful here during camp and I guess even throughout the spring. But excited to see what he can do for the Utes.
Now, as you go into this season, there's probably going to be a lot of jitters, especially with it being a sold-out crowd. The streak continues officially that Utah announced that it is going to be a full sellout crowd. 51,444 will be jam-packed inside Rice-Eccles Stadium. What is going through the players' minds right now as they're getting closer and closer to kickoff and knowing that there will be fans tonight?
I mean, just the pregame butterflies. They happen to everyone, whether you're really nervous or not. Once you get that first play under your belt, you're good to go. It'll be exciting. It's Weber State, but first full crowd in basically 2 years, right? So the place is going to be rocking tonight for sure. You got the stadium closed off. That 51,000, that's bigger than it's ever been, right? We're used to the attendance numbers being in the 45,000, so it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Wish I could be there.
Yeah, for sure. But obviously, Drew will be joining me here on a pregame live every single game day, as well as post-game. We will be doing our post-game reaction over on the KSL Sports Instagram. So make sure you guys tune in. It'll probably be about an hour and a half after the game, just to get through all of the post-game stuff with Kyle Whittingham and such. So as you look at this matchup, as you mentioned, it is Weber State. A lot of people are chalking that up as a win. How open is Andy Ludwig going to open up the playbook? How open is it going to be tonight?
Shouldn't need to be too open. I think you want to, get some exposure to some of your core plays for sure that you've been practicing for a couple of weeks. But you don't want to overplay your hand. All things considered, shouldn't need to open it up too much either. I think you do want to establish, though, kind of set the tone for the season. So I don't think you want to be passive by any means. I don't expect that to be the case. But again, I don't think you don't really have to open it up too much. And like I said, show your hand for the upcoming games, for upcoming opponents to see on tape.
How long of a leash do you think Charlie Brewer has? Because we know last year Cam ended up going down with an injury. Jake Bentley came in, struggled at times, but then ultimately, the leash came really, really short when you were put in late in that first half against Washington State in the regular season finale. Going in with Charlie having a ton of experience, a ton of success at the Power 5 level, how long of a leash do you think he has?
It's tough to say. Surely that leash doesn't need to be exposed at all tonight. You sure hope not anyway. Maybe that, I don't know, maybe it's conversation. Hopefully you don't have to have that conversation at all. As far as the leash, hopefully, you want your guy to go out and prove that, he's the guy, we made the right decision. But I mean, I think that's in a way that's the beauty of having, two guys that are more than capable of being starters. If for whatever reason you're not getting the production you need, you can make the change. I mean, it's kind of tough to say, and I guess more than anything, part of that is right now, going into tonight's game, you don't expect a leash to be needed. But you never know, and like I said, Cam will be ready, and we'll see what happens. But hopefully they look sharp tonight.
One of the big question marks coming into this game is the health of the O-line. It sounds like, according to Kyle Whittingham, 3 or 4 key guys were on the fence of potentially playing tonight, and we won't know until they lace up who's going to play and who's not. If you're at that point on a Thursday game day where your guys are still on the fence, some of your key guys, knowing that you're going up against Weber State, and again, I'm asking Drew Lisk now, as a member of the media, would you potentially hold those guys out even if they could play, just to get them ready a couple more days to be ready to go for BYU next week? Yeah,
I think especially if you got a guy that's previously started and played quite a bit, I think you want him to be healthy, man. I think there's no reason. Again, it's not like you're calling the dogs off or anything. Like, you're not putting your best foot forward, because whoever's on the field needs to be playing as hard as they can. But in a game where you shouldn't have too much to worry about, I think it would be smart to, if you got a guy, especially if it's an injury, right, where there's a potential to make that injury worse. If you're just playing through a little bit of pain, then maybe that's a little bit different story. But I think if you got a guy where, maybe it's a soft tissue injury or something, and you can injure it even worse, then I think that's where you might think about not playing them in the opener. Let them get really, really close to, if not 100%, for the remainder, and then hopefully it's not an issue, rather than something that's going to prolong or worsen that injury, and it just becomes a constant thing that you have to worry about week in and week out.
Talking about Weber State now, Jay Hill's done a phenomenal job turning around that program. You guys got to see them back in 2018. Jay told the media earlier this week that he had a very young team back in 2018. This year, he has a more veteran-laden team full of guys who have been around for a long time. These guys are going to be big-time contenders for a FCS championship coming up this year. And also, I guess in a way, warmed up from playing, a season during the spring, and so they didn't have a long off season like Utah did. And just kind of your thoughts on the Wildcats coming into this game. I mean, a really talented team, but again, there's a reason why there's FCS and also the FBS, and why these programs are where they are.
Right. Definitely a big game on their calendar, right? They don't get week in and week out a chance to play a FBS team, let alone a Power 5 team. So big game for them. They're going to come out and play hard. Obviously, talented players. They're playing at the college level for a reason. Like you said, these guys they're a good team. They compete. They've been recently in the FCS playoffs the last couple of years. Sounds like they got a good chance to be there again this year. I think too, just kind of what I've heard and a little bit I've seen, they've got a solid defense. I think obviously Utah's offense hopefully can get it going and won't be an issue for Utah. But I think the biggest challenge in these kind of games for those FCS level teams is it's just tough, especially against a defense like Utah, really a top 5 national defense in Power 5 FBS. It's tough for them to get much of an offensive rhythm going. So actually someone got someone at work who's a Utah alum, and he's like, so is Weber State going to score it all tonight? And I was like, maybe a field goal or two. I wouldn't expect anything more than 10 points. But, they'll fight on defense and obviously compete on offense as well. I think that's the biggest uphill battle for an FCS team to climb, is putting up offensive production. And, Jay Hill with a defensive background as well. Just kind of a defensively rooted team, kind of like a traditional Utah team a little bit. So, I think they probably put up present more of an issue, I guess you could say, for Utah's offense against their defense versus the other way around.
All right, Drew, as we start winding down here on a pregame live, I since it's our very first in-game stream of the season, I want to go through Utah's schedule line by line, and you give me a win or a loss, just to kind of see. And again, don't put on your red goggles, put on your media goggles right now. They're not going to go 12-0.
I got you.
Unless you firmly believe that. But okay, so tonight's game, Weber State.
I'll say that's a win.
Okay. Next week at BYU.
That's easy. That's a win.
Okay. Easy. Whoa. Okay. At San Diego State, which it's kind of at San Diego State, but it's really in Carson, California, where the LA Galaxy play.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's not going to matter in this game. That's a win.
Okay. The home opener in conference play, Washington State, a team that you are very familiar with.
Yes, I will go with a win, although Washington State should be a little bit more competitive in the Pac-12 this year, I think.
All right. Now, here's a really tricky one. It's been over 100 years since Utah has won at the Coliseum at USC.
This is the year. Firm believer in that. Yes, absolutely.
Bold take.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm going with a win there because at the very least, I'm speaking it into existence. It's got to happen this year. Has to happen.
In order for them to really get to their goals of winning a pack. I mean, it's always come down to Utah and USC anyway, usually for that South title.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years we lucked out and USC ended up losing a game that we needed them to lose or whatever, right? But I think this year the Utes, if they're going to get to what they want to do, what we all want them to do, which is not only get to the Pac-12 championship game but win it, and get to a Rose Bowl, I think you start with establishing your presence and that confidence by winning in the Coliseum.
So right now you have Utah at 5-0, which is a really good start. Probably would be around top 10 as far as the rankings right now, around that time. Now, heading back home in the Ute Proud game against Arizona State.
This is one, especially if you come off a win at USC, can't sleep on this game. I know Arizona State's got a lot of chaos around their program. I'm going to say this is a win, but I think this is a sneaky game that Utah has to be. They got to bring their A game again here because that Arizona State team is very talented and well coached.
All right, and then they head up to Corvallis to take on Oregon State.
We'll give that a win.
Okay, and then back at home against UCLA Bruins, which, by the way, are you buying that hype from when they smashed Hawaii in week 0?
No, maybe they're better than they have been. Maybe they're. I mean, the Dorian Thompson-Robinson, whatever, DRT, DTR. He's a good player. Yeah. He's a good player. So, I think they should, from their perspective, hopefully be a little bit more successful this year and have some success. Does that translate across the board to a national level? I don't know. I'm going to say win there as well.
Okay. Now they head over to the farm and take on Stanford in Palo Alto.
Don't know much about Stanford this year. I will be at that game, though, so I'm chalking that up as a win. Yeah.
All right. And then they are taking on a very struggling, very new, I don't know. Okay, they're not good. Taking on the Arizona Wildcats down in Tucson.
Win.
Okay, so right now you have them without a loss. Now here's one where I had a hard time picking. It's at home. It's in that military appreciation game where they're wearing those very
awesome
slick uniforms. Yeah.
Yes.
Taking on Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, this is the big one, right? Or at least you hope it is. Yeah, this is tough to pick. I mean, obviously, this was the matchup a couple years ago. Can we put this pick on hold, or you want an answer right now?
I'll let you go back and give me I'll let you have a mulligan later. But for those out there who, the fans want to know.
The fans want to know, man, they're going to bring it. That's a win. Let's do it. That's a win.
So they're either going to go 11-1 and lose to Colorado, or they're going to go 12-0 according to Drew Lisk.
Yes, I'm going to say yes. I mean, I I think it goes without saying the big games are the USC game, or the on paper big games are the USC game. Like I said, don't sleep on the Arizona State game. I know it's at home. So back-to-back weeks there. Those are two big ones, and then the Oregon game. So to jump to the next question, Colorado game, that's a win. But those are the three that I think. And then, I mean, the key is all the other games they should win for sure, I think. The key is, not slipping up in a game that you're the better team and you really should win without question. So you got to bring it every week for sure. But who are we going to play from the north? That's the question now, right?
I'm going to guess either Oregon or Washington. Those seem to be the favorites in the North Division, at least.
Right, as they should be. Yeah.
Okay.
So Oregon, maybe twice against Oregon, right? If that is the case, hopefully we win the second time if we're going to win one of the two.
So are you going to predict a Pac-12 championship for the Utes? You guys have gone twice.
I don't see why not to. I really don't. I don't see why not to.
And then them winning the Pac-12 championship and going the record you actually say they're going to the college football playoff.
That's true. They will. Yeah. They got to. If you run the table
Bold takes, Drew
at 12-0. The Oregon game, I'm telling you, man, the Oregon game that's I haven't seen Oregon this year. Obviously, we haven't seen anyone this year, but that's it could come down to, it may not come down to that. As far as college football playoff, it might, but for the Pac-12 game, it may not come down to it, because if that's your only loss, then you'll play them again. But I'm telling you, those are the three big games that you really gotta. If you win those, you set yourself up, because you should win the other ones. Okay,
final thing, and we'll wrap up pregame live here. Give me three keys to if Utah wants to pick up a win. What are three things that they will have to do well tonight?
Be sharp. Take care of the ball. I'll put those together. We talk a lot about it going into the first game. As few as possible administrative penalties, as far as delay of games, pre-snap penalties, right? Stuff that should be ironed out, but if not, this is your first game, you get it ironed out. So I don't think necessarily they would lose tonight because of too many false start penalties, but I think that's just something that you want to see going into week 2 is taking care of the football. Administrative penalties. I'll put those together. So looking sharp. I think you want to see some explosive plays. See who's capable. I'm sure everyone is capable, I guess. Who's going to show up and do it in a game. And also who gets those opportunities is another thing. And then third, I think they should be gunning for a shutout, man. I know this Weber State team, like you said, a little bit more experienced. Jay Hill's more confident in them, but this defense is legit. They should be. Again, talk about Andy Ludwig opening it up. Scally is not going to open it up too much defensively either. Should be pretty basic from a blitz package standpoint. So maybe they give up a little bit if the second team comes in. But so I guess this week. Sorry to change your question. Maybe it's more of what do you want to see, I guess, takeaway, right? So I would say look sharp, create explosive plays, and let's get a shutout. And then give me a score prediction and game, and who would you give your game ball to? Score prediction. Let's go 35-3. We'll give the Wildcats a field goal, gunning for the shutout. Maybe a late game field goal there. 35-3. That's the Utes converting in the red zone. That's been a big thing, I guess, over the last couple of years is scoring touchdowns down there, not just field goals. 35-3. Game ball to. Let's see. Let's go game ball TJ Pledger, the newcomer. Okay, I like it. Yeah, the newcomer. I like it. I have no idea if he could be the third guy in touch. He may get 5 carries a night. From what Kyle Whittingham said, they're all going to equally get reps in this game. It sounds like. And there you go. I'm going to say emerges. There you go. I'll say TJ breaks out maybe a 40 or 50 yarder or something for a touchdown. just making a prediction. Who knows?
We'll end up handing out our game ball tonight after the game on the KSL Sports Instagram page when we have post game here with Drew Lisk. So Drew, I'll talk to you in a couple hours. Try and get through the day leading up to kickoff.
Yeah, you and me both, right? Let's all try to do that.
All right, that is former Utah quarterback Drew Lisk. He will join me on Instagram coming up tonight after the game. Thank you guys for tuning in.